Yes, people, welcome back to the Property Strategist podcast.
Yes, sir.
How's everyone doing today?
I'm all right, thank you very much. Busy day today. It's been crazy.
In London?
Yeah, in London today. No Birmingham today.
How's things quickly?
Yeah, things are good. Busy on my side. So trying to get a couple of things across the line. First Street project should be done in 2 weeks.
Woo!
So it'll be good to get the content out.
Yeah.
See what we've been doing. But apart from that, man, just been busy, man, trying to find deals as well.
Yep.
Deals are hard to come by these days.
I've got some deals for you, man.
All right, cool. That's fine, no problem.
I've had some conversations.
But stuff that stacks.
Yes.
With me, what the thing about me is I don't like doing deal for deal's sake.
100%.
I've been so experienced with property now that it's like I've been
point?
burnt. There's been times I've done stuff and it's like, oh, it didn't quite.
Yeah.
Why
forcing
did that
massaging
happen?
the numbers and it's
Thank you very much.
you in the back.
Thank you very much. But we move, man. How you been though?
I've been good, man. Like you said, trying to make deals stack, man.
Yeah.
So just doing my best to think outside the box. How can we get more direct to vendor deals? How can we work more closely with councils that we're speaking about?
Yep.
How can we be more creative about raising funds and the projects we take on, etc. So trying to be efficient and with the business, just adding more structure. There's always bottlenecks.
Definitely.
So obviously recently we had some bottlenecks around closing deals. So putting someone in place, adding a solicitor, to the team and things like that. So yeah, man, just building on brick on brick.
But it's not about us today.
It's not about us today.
It's not about us today. We've got a special guest in the building. Benedicta, hello. Hi. Just a quick intro. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, a couple lines.
So
we'll get into it.
I tag myself your favorite accountant.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
I might not be the best, but you will enjoy talking to me.
All right, then.
Amazing.
We were just talking about accountants and how some of them have a little bit of a communication issue. So
Yes.
I try to break down all this crazy jargon, make it relatable, understandable. So Benedicta, your favorite accountant,
Amazing.
founder of Benny Ratio Finances. I've been doing that for a good number of years now,
Perfect.
6-7 years officially.
Amazing.
But yeah.
Okay, good. I mean, we're definitely going to get into how you got started and what your background is. But again, I just want to double back on what you said in regards to having an accountant is so important to have someone you get on with. Like, I've got an accountant and I love her. Like,
that's good.
she's an older lady. She's Donna's about 60, 65, 70 now, right? But I can call at 10 o'clock. Listen, even the house I live in right now, she helped me navigate, obviously being self-employed, blah, blah. We was working on it for 2 years to kind of make sure we get there.
That's another thing. Some accountants, yes, they'll do the tax return or whatever, but they're not trying to understand where you're trying to go to and therefore giving you the advice of what you need to do now so you can get there.
Exactly.
So one of the things I always ask my customers when they come to me is, okay, so what do you want to do? Like, do you have any big goals in the next few years? For example, most people, they come and say, I want to pay the least tax possible without being illegal. But then in the same breath, they tell me, but I want to buy a property next year. Those two things, they don't match up together. So if you want to buy a property, we're going to need to make the numbers look good and all of that. So I don't think many accountants do that. So like what you said about Donna, I love her already.
Donna's amazing. But I mean, let's bring it back, man. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, like your background, how you got started.
Yeah, I think we first came across you, obviously, Savvy Wallet. Shout out to Savvy Wallet. That interview blew up completely.
Crazy.
And we were just like, wow, tax is such a thing. It's a thing that everyone, doesn't. It's like that hidden thing no one wants to talk about. That everyone deals with, but we're not allowed to really talk about it. It's like a taboo. You know what I mean? But to have someone that, looks like he's familiar with you, that can actually break it down and almost take the curtains off of the back, the ugly, you know what I'm saying? The ugly, because tax is ugly, let's be real.
There's a lot of jargon.
It's not like something you look and go, oh, this is fantastic tax. It's like, ooh. But now I feel like with a lot of people making more money now, people investing now, we need to really get an understanding of this.
We're definitely talking about money more, just generally.
Yes.
As a generation, probably, compared to our parents.
100%.
We're just more open, right? I guess social media generation. But for me, exactly what you said, like for some people it's scary. For me, I've always been good at numbers. I remember, I think I said this on Atos, I don't know if he edited it out, but I remember being 7-8 years old and winning a maths competition. That memory is still in my head because like when you win, they make you go to this, like, I don't know, it was in Peckham. I used to live in Camberwell. They made us go to like the town hall or something. So like as a kid, it was amazing. Like, deal. Like we're going somewhere, they're going to give us something special, right? So for me, I've always been a numbers person. I hated trying to do, don't get me wrong, I still passed English and all of that, but I literally was an A-star student for maths. So for me, I would just do numbers, like thinking that it's normal. But as I grew up interacting with people, they were like, oh wow, this is amazing, can you help me? I'm like, help you? Isn't this what everybody does?
Everyone should know this,
But so yeah, just because of my natural, I guess, inclination towards it, it made me want to do number type subjects. I studied business economics, and because I studied business economics, they made us do accounting. Before, I used to hear accounting and I'd be like, ew, who wants to be an accountant? God forbid. But then, and to be fair, in my first year of uni, they made us do financial accounting, and I still felt like that. But in second year, they forced us again, like, you know, you have compulsory modules. They forced us to do a management accounting. And when I was sitting in that class, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I was like, all the stuff that this teacher's saying, I've been doing this before even getting, so they're talking about like variance analysis, like budgeting, planning. They're just talking about different things. So I've always been that person. Okay, I've got this much. How am I going to spend it? How am I going to divide it? Blah, 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 blah. So I was doing, so then I realized that there are different types of accountants. So now my eyes are opening. I'm like, okay. And then I just went down that route. I was like, do you know what, as well, to be fair, if I become an accountant, I'll always have a job. So I wasn't even thinking about business.
Got you.
I was just like,
job security.
Job security. I'm a risk-averse person. I was like, there's always going to be jobs for accountants, right? So let's do this. I've got a placement here. And literally, I have only ever, like in my 9 to 5, only ever worked as an accountant doing finance work, basically. Started as a finance assistant, finance manager, finance business partner, going up and up and up. And then I went into consulting more recently. I say more recently, like in like top 4 and stuff. So it's just been, but it's all finance, always finance.
Did you have to get like again, I don't know, so that's what I'm asking. So you didn't do an accountancy degree?
I did.
You did, okay.
No, I didn't do an accountancy degree. After my BSc, I did CIMA.
CIMA, that's the one.
17 exams.
Damn!
17 exams to pass.
Oh, right.
I had to do some repeats. I'm just keeping it real. But 17 exams.
All right. Damn.
So when you see an accountant, hats off to them.
Rate them, man. It took them a while to kind of get that. Fair enough.
And then, so in terms of like working with individuals, then what was that transition? Who was your first kind of client? What did that look like, that transition into working with entrepreneurs?
So funny enough, from my 9 to 5 back in the day, shout out to Septimus, I don't know if he'll ever watch this. He was like my uncle at work, right? And he knew, he's like old school accountant, like they learned the hard way back in the day. But he was like, oh, Benedicta, you can do it. Like, so he literally taught me that. Literally, when I was a finance assistant, he was like one of my managers in the office. So he was literally teaching me the job at work, but on the side he was like Benedicta, because he was like, he himself is stepping out to start his own accountancy practice, and then he was like to me, Benedicta, you can do this, like this is what you do. That he literally put me through and encouraged me also. So he kind of encouraged me to do it the formal business way, but unofficially I was helping people out with like their budgets and personal finance and stuff like that. My husband says he was my first customer. But
having an accountant as a missus must be very beneficial.
He's living a good life.
That's not a curse though, because you can't do this. Exactly.
So what's going on with this money?
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But we do have conversations about money. But so friends and family, obviously, unofficially, and then officially going through like the formal route. And then literally one of my friends, a shout out to Nash, I always shout her out. She also, so she was already into content creation. So we talked about being an influencer. She was doing all social media,
for
YouTube, when no one was doing it, because she's a creative. So she was doing it when it wasn't even a thing, before everyone was jumping. She used to be doing YouTube videos. I'm like, she would be on Instagram. I'm like, so she was like, Benedicta. So my husband and I stayed at her house. I remember I stayed at their house. She was married for a weekend. And they were like, today's the day. You're going to record a video. I was literally sweating. I was under so much. Literally, like they were forcing me to do it. She's like, no, she literally did my first few Instagram templates. And she was like, look, you need to put your stuff out there. So she kind of forced me to go into social media. And then the rest is history, as they say.
That's
like
real.
People reaching out from what I was doing.
That's crazy, man. That one moment kind of everything snowballs.
And you're comfortable in front of the camera looking.
Yeah.
Sunshine. That counts. That's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's sick is, and what I love about social media is that it's bringing traditional people and putting a light on them. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you have accountants, they're in their room, office tie, no one sees them now. But now, accountant can have a personality, a fun person, they can be personable and still be an expert, be smart at what they do. So it's really good to see. What would you say was your first high net worth client? How much did obviously don't use names, but how much did they earn? And what was how did you manage the tax around them and stuff like that?
So obviously, when it comes to accounting, you've got personal accounting for individuals, and you've got business accounting. So individuals, So I do have a lot of clients. In fact, even some of these people are like, is that your salary? Wow. I'll be asking them, so what do you do? How did you get into this job? Literally, I'm like, maybe I'm in the wrong industry. But literally, like I said, just from putting myself out there and obviously knowing how to do tax returns and all of that, they literally came to me. I have quite a few individuals that earn over 100K. Okay. And it's so funny because, on recent social media content, where I was talking about, over 100K, I see people, the comments, some people are like, oh yeah, in what world do people earn 100K?
They do, bro.
I don't say anything on social media, but in reality, I know a lot of people that earn 100K, over 100K. But the funniest thing is, one of my customers who we were talking recently because she came on a webinar, she was telling me that, you know what, I earn over 100K, but my immediate friends don't know. So I don't know if to say she's been hiding it, but she's why? Because exactly what I just said about social media, people see it like, oh, you're a millionaire, but it's like 100K is when we talk about taxes. You're not a millionaire.
Breaking it down for us.
Exactly. So she's like, she has friends that earn like 30, 40K, and she's like, because of their mindset, if they knew that she earned that much, she feels that they might feel a certain way. So just in terms of people do actually, some people do earn a lot more than you think, but they just keep it normal because of friends, family, so they're not sure how you might take them.
What is, so as an individual that earns 100K, what's the breakdown usually take home?
Okay, so I can't say everything off the top of my head, but basically, obviously for 100, just say 100K on the dot. Obviously, you're going to have your tax-free allowance, 12,570. Everyone gets that. The next 33K or so, up to about 50K, 50 to 70, you pay 20% tax. And then for the remaining 50K up to 100K, you're going to pay 40% tax. If you add it all up, you probably get around 60K. Like
so from 100K,
so you just eat 440.
That's NI as well. NI everything.
NI tax, all of that, and then obviously if you've got pensions, a student loan, you had
rental.
So what in that situation there, obviously, again, I'm not trying to say free advice for everybody, but because it depends on the situation, right? But is there ways? I don't know how to do my head like that, but is there ways around?
Don't make us know.
Yeah, because like,
get us in trouble.
Obviously, or is it when is the company? Is that when there's more stuff to kind of claim for? Or as an individual?
After that, what does that look like for a company?
Yeah, exactly. So for both, there are definitely things you can do. I'm not going to give out all the gems.
No, you don't have to.
Search my page, you'll find out.
Pay the consultation fee.
Pay the consultation fee, whatever. There's definitely things you can do.
Okay.
I will be honest, it works more for high rate taxpayers.
Cool.
If you're in the 50, 60K, you might not really get that much benefit. But if you're from 60, 50 onwards, there's definitely things you can do. Some of it though does involve you spending money, but then you can potentially claim it back.
Okay.
So there's that, and obviously, so you need to be ready to even pay for the tax, the tax fees or whatever, the service for that. But so there's things you can do, but definitely when you own a business. That's when, again, even more benefits. Because why? You can start to run expenses. If you think about an employee, right? You get your gross salary, 100K. They take out all their tax. You've got 60K left divided by 12, whatever that is. Let's just say 4K a month, right? 4K a month. You're now then spending on travel, spending on, I don't know what, bills, rent, all of that kind of stuff from the 4K that's already been taxed. Whereas with business, you get your 100K into the business, then you spend. Obviously, there are things you can spend on. You can't be putting McDonald's and like your personal rent.
Can you put gym random?
You can put food expenses, no?
Okay.
You can only put food expenses if you are incurring food expenses for the business. So, for example,
I can't take someone for dinner and say...
If it's a business,
But if it was a business dinner,
then yes, you can.
Mm.
And if you're traveling, you mentioned Birmingham.
Yeah.
If you're traveling to Birmingham and you have to get something on the way, of
What
course.
about abroad? If I'm traveling abroad?
Yeah, if it's a business trip.
So that if you add the...
I told you I went to Dubai last year.
event.
How do you think I paid for that?
There was a networking event that we went there.
There was actually, yeah.
Exactly. So if you go abroad, you can, as long as your business can afford it.
That's
another thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, you can put those things. So now you're doing all of that expenses. So for example, you've got 100K. Now you've done all your expenses. Let's say your expenses are 20K, 30K. So now your tax is being put on the 70,000.
Okay.
Rather than the other way around, which was you're being taxed at 100K. Then now you're spending. Again, I will emphasize eligible.
It's not for everybody.
It's not everything.
Yeah.
It's not everything.
Out of curiosity, you mentioned earlier, it's a random question, but you say you see a lot of people earning good money. Like, what kind of careers?
Yeah, it was true. Let's talk about it.
Kind of people.
Let's be honest.
What do they do?
A lot of them are into tech, obviously.
Of course.
But tech sales in particular. So jobs where you're getting paid a commission. So apart from your basic salary, you're also being, given incentives for the fact
closing
that
on the deal, getting the client.
And obviously the better you are, the more you make, basically. So and then also just generally working for higher and better companies. So working for, I wouldn't even put top 4 in there, but like investment banks, right? You might not be doing a sales role where you're getting commissions, but because you're in an investment bank, they have decent bonuses.
Okay.
So just generally.
Yeah.
So in one of my 9 to 5s, not too recently, but recently enough, because it's an insurance company, they generally give out bonuses that are very decent. So I'm talking bonuses that are into like 10, 15, 20,000, 30,000. One of my friends who was in banking, she's now moved into property. Her sign-on bonus was...
You get signed on, but that's
so you're not even after you've done this, before you've done the job.
One
of them got 30K bonus, 30K sign-on. Another one of my customers, again, she got a sign-on bonus of 25K.
No way.
Yeah.
This is a UK thing.
Just to say yes.
Yeah.
Wow, I've not really heard. I thought it was more like Dubai and abroad.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was
Dubai definitely do it as well.
Yeah.
But in the UK, this is what, so depending on the kind of company, prestigious companies, even though you're doing a normal job, they just have good incentives, good benefits.
I mean, that's important to say because obviously in the world now of social media, making everything look pretty and nice, where's the actual money coming from? The actual making the money. Because only the accountant will tell you. Let's get in the room.
Having said that, on a business note, I have seen some of my business customers, they are not working for anybody. One of them was turning over 400K in her business, a single individual. But what I have seen is that a lot of these people make that money when it's tied to still like a professional thing. So for example, that person was a lawyer. She's a qualified lawyer, but then she was now doing, so she used to do that 9 to 5. Now she's opened up her business, but she also, she did a smart thing because she's not just providing normal, oh, let me help you do your contract or whatever. She was identifying specific influencers and then selling them to brands to be like, oh, L'Oreal, I've got someone who can
do X, Y, Z for you.
And she would take like a commission. So it might be a 20K deal or something, but her part is 25%. So she's got 5,000 from
just
one.
For intro.
Yeah.
So
it's beyond just...
I've got a question, man. It might start some...
Carry on, ask your question.
How do, with all your clients that you're working with, high net worth clients, when you look at females versus male, which one is killing it more right now? That's in 2024. Tell us right now.
I think that's a very good one.
And let's be honest.
If I'm honest, on a 9 to 5 kind of contractor kind of thingy, it's actually the men. But I think that's because the men prefer to be in bigger organizations and institutions. On a business level, the women are killing it. I talked about
flip it, I thought you could have said the
other way around. No, women are good at business. Another one of my clients, she turned over 110K last year on her own. This is a 2-3 year business. Like she's
What
on
does
her own. She's into she does events for women.
Okay.
She does women events, but around a bit of recruitment as well. So where you start to make the money, right, is when you're involving corporates. So when you see people only selling to individuals, the
not
profit is
minimal.
okay. You can make a decent amount, but it's not going into the six figures.
Got you.
Where I've seen the people make the money is when your clients are becoming corporates, because they have money to pay. Your customers, individual, pay later.
You get it as well.
All the time.
That's very interesting.
Try to negotiate your fees and that.
Literally, yeah.
Let's talk about, obviously, we're property podcast. Let's talk about property. What was your first introduction to property tax and dealing with property people as well, stuff like that?
So I bought my first property when I was 25. In Plumstead.
Oh wow!
Yeah, a one-bedroom box flat. There's nothing special about it. But
she lives in your area as well.
But it makes money. It does the job, right? And we bought a second property when I was, how old was I? I don't know, 5 years later, whatever that was, 30, I guess. So and we're actually in the process of buying another property. But that's just a personal thing. For me, I was saying, I'm Nigerian. My parents are, I was brought up with my parents owning property here and in Nigeria. So my parents have always been landlords. So growing up, I just thought, again, it's a normal thing to do. Not because it's a hype.
Yeah.
Back in the day, as a 7-year-old child, I remember going to property, with my parents. We just go, and then growing up, my mum would send me from Plumstead, Abbeywood to Elephant and Castle, go and get letters. So I'll be on the 177.
That's a long journey.
I'll be on the 177. She'll be like, go and get my letters from the house. So I grew up with that again before social media and all that. So I always knew that I'm going to buy houses. I'm going to rent them out, and I'm going to have extra streams of income from that, apart from the house that I live in. But from a business side of things, again, like I said, just being on social media, knowing how to do accounts, knowing how to communicate, and learning and all of that kind of stuff. I've had people come up to me and ask me to do their business accounts or do their business accounts with them owning property businesses, if that makes sense. So of course I've had to upskill over time as well to learn what needs to be done. What's the difference between doing accounts for property business and doing accounts for a normal business?
Would you say there's a big difference, and what kind of things are you seeing from like property? Obviously we're property podcast. What kind of things are you seeing from a property?
I wouldn't say there's big difference. What it is just that there's more admin and legal things. So obviously with a property, you own the property, so for example, for a property to be owned by a limited company means a limited company bought it, right? So there's certain paperwork that you need to review compared with a transaction that's just, someone paid me £5 to do nails or something like that. So there's just more things to check. It's not like they're getting some extra benefits in terms of tax. Obviously, most people open up a company when they start earning over 50k, like we talked about before. So of course, they're trying to keep the property profit in the business, so they only pay 19% tax, compared with if you're a high rate earner and then you have a second property, third property in your name, then it means that whatever money you earn from your property is now being taxed at like 40% or even 45% if you're earning over 125k.
And that was my next question actually, because you get a lot of people, is it better to buy limited company or individually?
So if the funniest thing though is that if you're not a high rate taxpayer, you can probably get away with buying 2-3 properties
on your name.
In your name because you don't have other income.
Absolutely.
So all the income is still going to be taxed just as basic rate until your profit gets to that 50 whatever K, then that's when
it makes sense for you to go into a limited company. And do you get anybody on your that's come to you and said, I've got a property in my name, however, I want to come. How
it is not possible.
Okay,
please do not. If you've bought it in your name, unless you actually go and sell the house to the company and the company buys it, and I mean there needs to be exchange of money, exchange of documents. You need to get lawyer. It's not just I bought this. Now let's quickly just put it in
process.
There. There's a
Money's
process,
involved,
And I always say, a lot of people do come to me asking me that. That's also a legal thing. So it's not your accountant that's going to do it.
Okay.
Go sort out your paperwork with your lawyer. Once you have put it into the limited company, then we can help you do the taxes.
That's important because just to say, I had the same thing. My first ever house I bought it in my name. But then a while ago I was like, you know what? Let me keep everything in the company, blah, blah, blah. I spoke to my accountant and she was like, go okay. Sorry, my dad did. She was good. But she was literally like, it's not that simple. Like there's a process to it. Okay, Why are you doing it? I'm like, because I want to try and get some money out potentially by selling to my company and then take some money out. And she was like, how much are you trying to take out? I told her how much I was taking out. She was like, okay, you got to pay stamp duty, you got to pay this.
Exactly. You actually have to do it like it's a form, like a proper transaction, as if you were sending it to a stranger.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. So that's important. So that's important for everyone to know. If you're trying to change your property from your individual to a company, it's not as straightforward. Speak to an accountant and again, like you said, legals as well. Solicitor as well.
Is there any other tips that you have around, property investing, tax, anything?
So
like that?
I would say again, that question about is it better to buy individual or limited company? I would say your first one, potentially even two properties. I think you should actually just get in your name because of the benefits that come, right?
Cool.
If you are buying it as a limited company, all those first time buyer discounts, stamp duty discount, you don't get any of that. Right. Even down to the fact that you can put 5% down as a deposit as a first time buyer, as an for a company, nothing less than 25%. So you guys will know that, right? Maybe if you get a great broker that
you
can
20%,
maybe 20%.
Yes.
But imagine, okay, so if a house costs 300k, 5% on 300k is 15,000. 20% on 300k is how
60.
much?
What's that good with numbers?
So unless you have the difference of 45k,
for real.
I would say just buy personally, put that 15k down, for example. Obviously, if you've got more money, yes, you can get a better discount and all of that in terms of your mortgage if you can put more down. But if you've only got a little bit of deposit, and I think that most people struggle with the deposit, to be fair, some people struggle with the affordability too, but that can easily be resolved when you bring two people together, so like husband and wife, brothers and stuff like that.
You've seen that a lot more as well. You've seen people collaborate on deals together, or is it more individuals buying?
I've seen more individuals buy in to be fair, as opposed to collaborations. Of course, spouses will tend to do things together.
Yep.
But even with spouses, we tried to do a thing, but it didn't work.
It didn't work. What did you try?
Basically, so I already had my property before I got married, so I got first time buyer benefits. But my husband didn't have a property.
Cool.
So we were like, we wanted to buy another property in his name. The broker was not having it. He was like, so where are you guys going to live afterwards? And basically, as long as any of you have a property, if you're going to buy,
don't benefit.
There's no first time
So that
buyer.
means before
Really
you
good
get married,
question.
just before we get married, maybe
In it?
do that
Yeah, we
investment.
should have done that.
All these conversations happen when you're thinking ahead of time,
Yeah.
and you won't know that until you're professional,
Yeah.
like accountant or broker.
So
That,
you could potentially
Think ahead of
husband get
time.
one, wife get one,
Yeah.
and then when you
That's
come
actually a question
together,
we've gotten
Okay.
recently, like often as well. Like we get a lot of situational questions of, I'm with a partner now, he's got his own property, I've got the money for a property now, should I go ahead and buy, or should I put money together with him? Should I do it before the wedding or after? And like, this is not property. Is this property or therapy?
or therapy or marriage?
I don't know.
Marriage counselling,
It's
financial marriage counselling.
maybe it's a niche that I can specialize in anyway, but it's real questions, you know what I'm saying? And you need almost like an accountant, broker, and a property person to get all the perspectives. But it's real life questions, so it makes sense.
Random one, but obviously, again, it's quite basic, but sometimes we just need people to break it down, right? We hear a lot about capital gain tax, like, what is that and why? Yeah, where does that come in normally?
So capital gains tax, just quite simply, is just tax that you pay when you sell an asset.
Okay.
Your asset can be a house.
Yeah.
So property tax is just a form of capital gains tax.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can also you pay capital gains when you buy or sell shares, when you buy or sell like frames, like artwork.
Yeah.
People invest in gold, people invest in wine. As long as it's a physical, tangible asset.
That's it.
I
You're
say
selling
physical,
it.
it doesn't have to be physical. But an asset that has value, you bought it because of the value, and you expect that the value is going to go up over time. You pay tax on the profit.
Okay.
Yes, not on the whole thing.
Whole
So,
thing.
for
Not
example,
what you make.
Yeah, not
the
what
profit.
you. On the profit. So if you sell it, and the capital gains tax is due at the point when you sell. So
Okay.
it's not like income tax where you're paying tax every month for
yeah,
some random reason. No, whenever you sell, you will pay capital gains tax.
Okay.
Of course, caveat, you will not have to pay that if it's your personal, individual property,
Okay.
residence that you live in.
Yeah, and because I've heard a thing whereby if you've lived in the property, then there's some sort of
You can kind of claim it back.
That-
There's
a way to-
There's a
Yeah.
lot you can claim back on capital gains.
Yes,
From what I
yes.
understand.
Definitely, if you've lived in a property, I think there's a year. Please don't quote me, but I think there's a number of years.
Yeah, there is,
that
yeah.
If you've lived in it, it's classed as a personal asset as opposed to like a business asset. I think it's important to understand, right? The UK as a country, as a system, is set up in a way that wants to give every individual / household just the basics, right? If you compare it to places like Africa where it's like every man for themselves, right? So that's why we have things like the NHS. That's why we have even like housing, right? Because like we don't want people on the streets. That's why you have what else do you have, like benefits if you're not earning a job? Okay, well, let's give them some, because they don't want the place looking like, you know, a desolate, you know, desolate land or something. But one thing they are not going to do is help you to get rich. So they will put food, they will put basics in your mouth. They'll give you basic accommodation, so you're okay, stay alive. Not embarrassing. You know, the country looks good.
Central London is looking okay.
Exactly. So they'll do that. But once you start earning second property, once you start talking about business, 100K earner, because in their mind, you don't need 100K, right, to survive. To survive, nah. People on 30K are surviving. They said that that's the average salary in the UK, 40K. So as far as they're concerned, you're now trying to get into the rich space. So it's now like, okay, let's bring that money back so we can help the people who don't have anything. So that's when you have that concept in your mind, that's when you start to understand, okay, so that's why they won't tax you on your individual first property. Maybe you're buying to get a bigger house, maybe you've got more children now, you need more space. But once you've got one and now you're just trying to buy another one because you just want to have...
How dare you?
How dare you?
I remember one of my first mentors that I had, obviously, you know, he had a massive portfolio in Birmingham. He had about 12, 13 properties there in Southeast London. Funny enough, is the area we all grew up in. Plumstead, Woolwich, all these. He had another like 13, 15. Wow. This is a couple, young couple in their mid-30s, going to mid-30s, early 40s. But then when he actually explained the breakdown of his portfolio, he was actually losing money.
Really?
Oh, swear.
On the tax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The tax was killing him.
Yeah.
Because he was, again, obviously, do everything by the book, do everything proper. That's what we're all about.
We're all about doing stuff by the book.
He's going to the T, innit? Yeah. And he said, like, this is not benefiting me. Like, obviously, we talk about property strategies and how to maximize income for your property. We're very big on that. Like, not just doing the traditional buy to let, using other means, social housing, supported living, Airbnb, HMOs, etc. But he was just doing everything single lets. And it was killing his profits because of the tax element. So it's so funny how you say, like, they're not really trying to get you to be rich. Like,
they just want you to be all right. And
never explain. You've got like a portfolio of 30 properties.
Right, you're not making more money. I guess another reason as well, I guess people want to invest through their company is, I think it's phasing in now. I don't know if it's fully in now. You can't claim back your interest on your mortgages now.
Yeah. So before you used to be able to claim back the whole mortgage, the whole mortgage payment, I believe, / interest as like a business expense. So then obviously that reduces how much your profit is and therefore how much tax you pay. Now they're not allowing you to do that. When you put it for a limited company, you will still not be able to claim certain things back. But what happens is that limited company tax is 19%, right? Corporation tax. So as long as you haven't earned, as long as your profit is not more than 250K, you will pay 19% and still keep that money. So as long as the money is in the company, if you take the money out of the company, then there will be personal tax implications. But for as long as it's in there, it means that you can make money in the company and then use that to buy more properties, you know, for the future.
Random question before we take a break here. Do you think it's important to actually understand accountancy? So for me, for instance, right, when I talk to Donna, right, majority of the stuff she's talking about, I don't have a clue, but I trust you, innit?
Yeah.
Do you think it's important for you to like educate yourself as well? And,
100%. And that's what I'm trying to do with Benny Ratio. So I have a lot of customers that will say, oh, Benedicta, I trust you, just get it done. That's fine. But at the end of the day, it is your name on the business.
Absolutely.
The truth is, if anything goes bad, unless I've done something illegal, I might not have done something illegal, doesn't mean I didn't do it right. If you get what I mean. Exactly. So your accountant might not commit fraud, but they might not be doing it in the best way. And so that's why it's important for you to understand. And even apart from even like tricks and all of that, definitely that's, I guess, the accountant's job, right? That's their job to tell you, oh, you know, you can do this, you can do that and do it for you. But just ultimately, it's your business at the end of the day. It's the same way with your personal finances. You need to, how can you not know your salary? How can you not know how much you spend and stuff like that? So you should. And so what I'm doing with my customers is, apart from, yes, we will do your stuff, I'm also giving them access to like pre-recorded materials that they can watch and understand what is being done, even understand what we are doing. Don't worry, you won't have to do your accounts yourself. We'll do it. But you should understand even basics like your invoicing and what that should look like, you know, how to take money out. I have a lot of people come to me and they've just been managing their accounts however, and it's just like, this is not the best way. And now because it's already done, I can't undo what you've done.
Cool.
So
yeah. And sorry, one last question before we take a break here. You mentioned Beno Ratio a few times. Tell us a little bit about Beno Ratio. What is it? And tell us about
so Beno Ratio is basically my accountancy business where we basically do all things accounting, not just accounting to be fair, but also just business and personal finance education as well. So I have quite a few courses about tax, how to get money back if you're self-employed or a high rate taxpayer, courses on even how to do your self-assessment yourself if you want to do it yourself. Courses on how to understand your business finances and all of that kind of stuff. But ultimately what we do is we do accounts for you. So we do your corporation tax, your company accounts, which goes to company's house. We do your corporation tax return and all of that, which goes to HMRC, confirmation statements, things like accountancy letters, all of that kind of stuff, self-assessment, every legal thing that you need from a financial compliance point of view for your business and for you as an individual.
Where did the passion, apart from the fact that I guess I'm sure you charge people for this, right? Of course. But there's a passion behind it, right? Where did this come from?
I think, like I said back in the beginning, it's just like the fact that I find it easy, or at least easier, compared to other people. And then sometimes I see people struggling. I'm like, it's not that deep. Okay. And so it's like, if you're struggling, just pay me the money. I'll do it for you. It's as simple as that. And also, I'm a businesswoman through and through. So I always say, whether you're selling tomatoes or you're selling hair or you're selling services, for me, it's all about, if there's a need and it can be met and money can be generated. Then let's do that. Because for me, business is another stream of income. So I never believe that, you should only be 9 to 5. Even if you're getting paid 10 million in your 9 to 5, you should have other streams. And even if you're making 10 million in your business, you should have other streams. If you look at the Bezoses of life and who else, the Elon Musk and stuff. Yes, they have their big company that you know about, but trust me, they're doing all kinds of other investments. Wasn't it Stormzy that just invested in the exactly? So no one should just have one stream of income. So I see business like that, and because of that, I advocate for everybody to have some kind of business. And so it's like, okay, if you're going to go into business, let me show you how you do it. Let me help you.
I think there's a massive demand for what you will have, and I think the key thing for you, and it's similar to what we have, sometimes, especially these very important subjects like going to the hospital or buying a house or doing your account, you want to have someone that's personable. You want to know that, okay, we talk business, but also like, one going to show you. I
understand where you're coming from.
People are going to show us, like, when we're buying a property, this is my deposit, this is what I'm trying to do. We have to also be personable.
Exactly.
So, really love what you're doing. Loving this interview, and we're going to go on a quick break. We'll be back soon, so stay tuned. Yes, people, welcome back to the Property Strategist podcast. We're having a fantastic episode with Benedicta. Last final questions. Final questions. Okay, cool. So, obviously, in this economy, cost of living, everybody's out here. Not everyone's struggling, but there are people struggling. Clearly, everyone's struggling. Clearly. What are some of the most favorable budget? Is it better right now? Are you seeing it's better to budget and save, or are you seeing that for most people it's just better to increase the income? Right. Focus on increasing income.
So again, I'm a risk averse person, so I believe you should be doing multiple.
Okay.
So therefore, you should definitely be increasing your income, and you should definitely be budgeting. But the truth is, right, if your income is fixed, there's only so much you can cut before your life starts to get a bit tight, right? So definitely focus on increasing your income. And I always say this, especially if you're a 9 to 5 person, moving companies, getting a kind of professional qualification. So for example, when I was a finance assistant, I was earning like 21K or so. And then after I graduated, my next job, I was earning 30K. So immediately 10K increase, right? Yeah. What business are you going to do that's going to give you a 10K increase like that? And then when I qualified, I went from 30K to 45K in one move. So that's another 15K. And I've done that multiple times in my career to get up to, 100K realms, right? But people always focus on, save the coffee, the this, the that. That's not going to give you 10K.
I hate when I see those.
Or 20K.
Honestly, I hate
those. One of the boxes lit though.
I think that, but exactly, it's not, you shouldn't, it's not that you do one and then forget the other. You have to manage your money properly as well. And as they always say, that where you manage £100 is how you manage £1,000, how you manage £10,000. Don't deceive yourself. If you can't manage,
fact, God will give it to you.
100%.
Do you get what I mean? So you have to be doing both as opposed to one over the other. But I think that the income increase probably has a bigger impact on individuals than just the saving.
Just to double back on that question, from your experience, have you seen any like little side hustles that you're like, oh right, okay, I didn't know that kind of made a bit of money, like that, you know, people should be looking into, like anything at all? Again, you might not have, but
there are definitely side hustles that make money, but if I'm honest, right, you need to balance it. So for example, doing social media management, right? Everybody, we have businesses, right? And we have people that help us with our social media, and we know how much we pay them. However, it's very time consuming.
Very.
So I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, I want to quickly do this to add some income, but it's actually now affecting their time. And for me, time is more valuable than money. I say for me, most people who are quite financially educated will know that time actually is more valuable than money. So you also don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're saying you want to make money, so you're doing this, doing that, but then when you work it out, you're maybe being paid like £1 an hour, £1 an hour, when you could actually upskill and then your hour. So how much I charge for an hour as an accountant, you can't compare that to the hour that I'm charging. Do you get what I mean? So I think that we should just be a little bit careful in the kinds of side hustles that we choose, and try to choose things that are like specific, professional, anything like legal, accounting, anything that has some kind of legal law, like FCA regulation type things, all of those kinds of things, they will give you more for your money, more money per hour than some of the smaller things.
I can't emphasize that enough, because I think we've realized recently is, listen, pay the money, like buy your time back. Like,
literally,
if you know you're worth, I don't know, £180 an hour, for instance, right? And then all you need to pay is pay someone £10 per hour to get something done. Pay the money.
Literally,
like, time is so time is, because you know the term time is money. Time is not even money.
100%.
Money you can get back.
You're getting really aggressive,
bro. I am getting aggressive. I'm pissed off.
I'm on it as well. It takes a while to wrap your head around it.
But it's coming out of a mindset. I think many of us have also come. If you didn't come from money, you have a mentality growing up, as they will always say, there's, money doesn't grow on trees, all of that kind of stuff. So in your mind, it's always, how can I save? How can I manage everything? My life in the last 2-3 years, especially as my time has gotten shorter and shorter, I will pay for whatever needs to be paid. I will pay to go through an express queue. Quite a few. Not even just one.
Game changer.
Not just one. Oh, we love a VA.
It's like that was my first business hack.
Same.
My first VA, oh my gosh, it was like, I have like 4 heads of hands.
A long time ago.
The thing is, though, you have to get good ones.
You have to get good ones.
Because I have also had not so good ones.
Have you? Touch wood, we've had good. Actually, one of them is dwindling. I
didn't want to say nothing, but he's on his last leg. Let's see how it behaves.
No, but I like that.
But another thing as well that you touched on is this element of like sticking with businesses, corporate professionals. Like obviously, there's a misconception these days that you have to now make money creatively and you have to be doing your own thing and but still the money talks. The accountants are talking. Like they're saying the money is tied to professions. Even for us, when we're doing a lot of deal sourcing and we're raising funds for investors and stuff, we're looking at the background. What they're mostly professionals. People that are working in corporate 9-to-5, like contracting. Maybe they're in a certain profession and they're doing really well with that profession for that period of time, and they want to use some of that money to convert into property. But it's always tied to a really highly skilled profession. And I think for the youngers that are listening as well, don't get, lost in, I actually look like the next, Chunks and Philly and become a YouTuber. Sometimes get a profession, have a side hustle, and balance the two. So, quick one. Next questions are quick fire ones a little bit. Biggest money management mistakes you've seen and how to avoid them as well.
Yes. Oh, this is actually linked more into investing, right? Okay. People that don't understand the concepts of liquidity and risk, right? Risk management. You can't tell me that you want to buy a house in 7 months and then you take your whole house deposit and put it in an investment that is high.
I'm talking to myself,
That's high risk, and you lose your money like that. If you've already saved it and you know that's what the purpose of it, you need to choose an investment that is in line with your plans and your liquidity. If you're doing things like stocks and shares, that's a long-term investment. You don't go put your wedding deposit or your wedding money in stocks and shares and then in a year's time the stock market is down and you've lost money. Do you know what I mean? So people need to understand the difference between different type of risks and different investment types and the risks that they carry. Yeah. And they also need to emphasize and take time to understand, okay, when do I need this money back? I need to invest according to when I need the money back. If you need it very soon, within 12 months, then you need to just put it in a savings account, honestly. Just put it in a high interest savings account.
And then flip side, best money / business management practices you've seen.
So I would say, I was thinking about this on my way here. I'm not going to say anything out of the box. I'm just going to say that I think budgeting and consistency are actually underrated. So number one of the biggest, one of the first, I should say, financial tips, advice that I had from one of my mentors was about how you should budget every penny. So just because you earn 5K and then you do all your expenses, let's say all your expenses come to 3K and you've got 2K left, it doesn't mean that 2K is for flexing, Dubai, Miami, Los Angeles. It's not. That's not what it's for.
You can't flex that one.
So you should allocate every single penny. Although that £2,000 is left, if it's going to be for savings, put it in a savings account. If it's going to be for saving for a rainy day, or even if it's for dinner and treats or whatever, put it in your dinner and treats pot on Monzo or whatever. But you have to get into because it's a habit that you're building that, and because I've built this habit for so long. And by the way, I wasn't always perfect with money. Like when I was at uni, I definitely went a little bit wild. But the day I decided that, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. If I've said I've got £100 for petrol, if my petrol money finishes, we ain't going nowhere till next month. I started doing that kind of stuff to the point that now I can get paid 5K, 6K. It will sit in my bank account until we have decided what it's going to be used for. What my husband will testify. Until we've decided what it's going to be used. Sometimes people give us money because of some of the things that we do. Like, I just want to say thank you, and what that money can sit in our
until you have a plan for it
for months.
Now send on errands and they can now do whatever it's meant to do.
But that has come from discipline over time, where it's like you don't spend money just because it's there.
That's important.
So like I say, I can get. I remember there was a time when back in the day, again, you know, you're getting paid and you're waiting for pay to come so that you can buy this. And now my pay comes, it's sitting there 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're good
until we do the budget and we say this is where it's going. And obviously you've got decent amount, and that's because you've already planned your previous money properly to the point that you're not stretched that as soon as the money comes in, right, let's go buy everything, fill everything, and then, you know, hide until the next payday. And like I say, consistency and budgeting. The more consistent you are, I've seen sometimes as well, like even where we save for everything. So even down to like car insurance, because we don't want to pay monthly, we'll save a little bit every month so that when the car insurance time comes, we can pay in full, right? So you're building up that consistency. An anniversary, we are preparing, saving every month. We're putting money in. So when you see us go on holiday or whatever, it's not like we just got up and said, "Oh, it's our anniversary, let's go." No, we are budgeting and planning for everything and consistently doing so.
Do you think like you being in a relationship has helped with this budget and stuff? I feel like when you're married,
I only know man.
But I think maybe for men, I'm talking to men. Sometimes when you got a partner that you know, I'm not married. When you're in the marriage, you're naked. You can see everything.
Some people don't, you know. That one is another story for another day. Some people are hiding salaries from their spouses.
That one's another episode, guys.
That is another episode because divorces and all kinds of stuff. But I would say, I said this on E-Man. Shout out to E-Man. I said this on his what's it called? On his post the other day. I think that marriage is a life hack. Having a partner is the biggest life hack.
Speak on it. I can get married, bro.
What's going on right now?
It's a life hack. Do you know why? Because everything is split in two. You've got double income, and there's my brother. He's I don't know if he's a millennial or no, he's not millennial. He's a Gen Z. What is it? Dinkies. He was the first person I heard it from. Dinkies. Double income, no kids.
I never heard that.
Apparently, double income, no kids. He was like, that's the top of society.
It's true,
because now you got two income, literally, and you got two income. So I definitely think that being with someone is a life hack.
I think Anyway, maybe
even from an accounting point of view, when you put your spouse on, you can pay them a salary. They can take dividends in your name, but it's all coming to one household. So you split the tax And so, for example, if you've got a high rate taxpayer and a low rate taxpayer, you can get the low rate taxpayer to be the one to take more, and then it balances out. So it's a life hack.
Guys, be married. Stop being outside. Outside is not fun anymore. Okay, it's not easy. Cost of living is killing everybody. Get somebody. Okay. Last few tips and advice, just in general, that you want to get out there to our audience before we close out.
I think there's a question on business, right?
Should I
talk about business or just generally?
Last tips on personal, how you personally evolve and innovate in the business space.
Yeah. So I think that with that has to do with being flexible and adaptable. And to be fair, it's not just about business, for individuals. One of my mentors, she said, I remember at the beginning of lockdown, we was in a Zoom meeting or whatever, and she said, there's something she said that people who are not willing to change and adapt and learn find that they are gloriously decked for a world that no longer exists. It's like you being, right, a pro at fixing BlackBerry.
BlackBerry's done that now. No,
so you might have been the Don Dada. You know how to do it. Everyone was coming to you, but BlackBerry is no longer being used. So you have to be willing to move with the times, no matter how young or old you are, because otherwise you can hold on to but I was this engineer, they were paying but that was before. They're not doing that anymore. And so this is where you see young children, young kids. There are children on YouTube, like 7-year-olds that are like millionaires, you know, because why? They will have a whole marketing plan. They're being consistent on YouTube about cartoons,
watching games.
Do you know what I mean? And so they have. So you need to understand what is current and get with it. I'm not saying you should always be changing like every single time, but definitely you need to move with the times. You can't be having the best horse and carriage. We don't use that anymore. We use cars. Do you get what I mean? So you need to learn, relearn, and learn again. Like there's no, as they say, the only constant is change. And if you're a stiff kind of, I want it this way, it's not gonna help. But when you see signs, you need to be able to read them and jump on them and. Basically, deliver for the audience.
Oh my gosh, fantastic episode, man. With our sis, really appreciate you coming through. One of our best episodes, man. So stay tuned for that. It's coming out soon. Where can they find you?
Instagram is mainly where I hang out. It tells my age. I really should do more TikTok.
We're all there with you. Don't worry.
I am on TikTok too, but I don't post as much. But obviously TikTok, Instagram, sometimes Twitter, but you know what?
Use Twitter, anyways.
Don't show our age.
I used to use it back in the day a little bit more, but you can find me. Just Google BENIRATIO finances. You can send an email, website, all of that kind of stuff. Perfect. But Instagram.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And then I guess we'll probably try and get you on again in the next 2 months, part two, man. But thanks everyone for listening in. Stay blessed.
Stay invested. Peace.